Tales from Horizon, where short stories from our TTRPG world come to life. I'm your World Forger, Neil, and today's story is Into the Maw of the Storm. Let's begin. The Vanguard was the finest vessel ever built in the shipyards of Talvesh, a marvel of Sebeki engineering. Its hull was reinforced with abyssal coral, its sails woven with enchanted silk to resist the fiercest of gales. It was made for this mission, to chart the uncharted, to claim the impossible, to pierce the heart of the eternal storm. Captain Elithis Stormsinger, a phoenix-born of the Windborn, stood at the prow, eyes fixed on the shifting black mass that churned ahead. The storm had been growing larger, its lightning now laced with streaks of green. He had studied every legend, consulted every ancient text. If the storm had an eye, a center of calm, then perhaps it could be navigated. Perhaps within it lay the lost island of myth. His crew was a mix of the daring and the desperate. First mate Korik, a hardened Sebeki sailor who had once outrun a kraken in the midnight expanse. Arcana Sable, a human stormcaller mage whose lightning runes crackled along her forearms. A dozen others, each with their own reasons for defying the warnings carved into the bones of dead mariners. They had been sailing for 6 days, the storm always on the horizon, always just beyond reach. Until now. The first sign that something was wrong came when the waves died. The ocean, once heaving with the prelude to the storm, fell still. An unnatural stillness. The Vanguard glided forward in eerie silence, its sails catching winds that could no longer be felt. Then came the whispers. At first, Elithis thought it was the wind. Then he realized it came from the rigging, from the hull, from the very air around them. Turn back! Arcana staggered, clutching her head. There's something in the storm. It's not just wind and rain, it's watching us. Lightning split the sky and the waves returned, but now they were wrong. They moved against the wind, against logic, against sanity. The Vanguard lurched forward as if pulled by unseen hands. The storm was upon them. A wall of black clouds swallowed the ship whole. Rain fell like needles, piercing through cloth and skin. The wind screamed, howling with a voice that was almost alive. Korik roared for the crew to hold the line, to reef the sails, but it was too late. The storm had claimed them. Lightning danced across the mast, turning wood to cinders. The sea rose, lifting the Vanguard high before hurling it down into the abyss. Shapes moved within the storm, towering figures of mist and shadow with eyes like burning coals. Elithis saw them, and they saw him. Then came the light. Not the blue-white of natural lightning, but something older, something raw. A pillar of emerald fire struck the ship, and for a moment, Elithis was nowhere. He was standing on a floating isle beneath a sky of swirling stars, his feet on stone that pulsed with forgotten power. And then he was drowning. The wreckage of the Vanguard washed ashore on an unnamed reef weeks later. There were no bodies, no survivors, except one. First mate Korik was found half mad, speaking of the eye of the storm, of the island that should not be, of figures standing within the lightning, their voices woven into the wind, and of Captain Elithis Stormsinger, who had walked into the storm's heart and never returned. The eternal storm had taken another, and it was still hungry. This story takes place in Horizon, a world built for tabletop role-playing. All you need is a set of dice and the Horizon guidebook, coming soon. Sign up at the link in the description to stay updated. Thank you for listening, and please join us again for another Tale from Horizon.